Gonna heave it way downfield, and it's batted down at the 5.
The Buffalo Bills just won their first playoff game in 25 years.
How about Josh Allen, fellas, posting better than a 74% completion percentage, best in Buffalo Bills postseason history? Bills Mafia's got to be pretty fired up today. Max, I'll start with you. Can Josh Allen lead this team to the Super Bowl this season?
Oh, yeah. Yes, he can. I mean, if you don't have Patrick Mahomes, how many young quarterbacks would you take over Josh Allen? A couple? Deshaun Watson? Of the young guys, that's it. And maybe by the end of next year, you'll take Justin Herbert. But right now, I'd take Josh Allen third among the young guys. And even if you threw in the older guys, he's top 5, top 6 at worst. And the Bills are the Bills in most departments are a competent team. And then they have a stud franchise quarterback who keeps getting better and better. His rookie season, his touchdown to interception ratio about 1-to-1. His next year, about 2-to-1. Now it's better than 3-to-1. He goes from a guy who's not ready to a kind of low average starter to a guy who they were talking about as an MVP candidate, in 3 years. And he's still getting better. By the way, Josh Allen can run the ball. He's a big, strong kid. He can run the ball and seems to know when to do it. Has like a nose for it. Yeah, they can win the Super Bowl. Stephen A., I'm taking the Chiefs to beat everybody. But when I look at the teams that could possibly upset them, the Bills are very high on the list.
Damn, Max, I thought you was going to at least give me Obama. It's not about yes, he will. It's about yes, we can. That's what I thought you were going to say. But let me tell you this, Max Kellerman, it doesn't matter. Guess what? The answer would be an unequivocal no. Because guess what? You got to win the Super Bowl, you got to get to the AFC Championship game first. How the hell are you going to do that getting through the Baltimore Ravens? I don't see that happening. Listen, I love Josh Allen. I love what I've seen from him. You throw for over 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I like this kid. He's got a bright future. He's in the conversation for league MVP. Obviously not ahead of Patrick Mahomes, certainly not ahead of Aaron Rodgers. To me, not even ahead of Derrick Henry. We get all of that. But in the end, you've made it by having a primary target in Stephon Diggs, who had about 120 receptions for about 1,535 yards. And then he just had 6 receptions for like 128 the other day. And Mr. You throwing over 300 yards. It's all nice, fine, and dandy. Here's the problem. You are going up against a Baltimore Ravens defense that is number 2 in the entire National Football League. Number 6 against the pass. Number 8 against the rush. They are a complete defensive football team. And one man, even though it's that brother, Stephon Diggs, who is something special, absolutely something special. Even though it's him, I don't know if I'm going to anticipate Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs being that matchup nightmare that the Baltimore Ravens can't handle. I don't see them handling Kansas City. You and I both have Kansas City beating everybody. But I got to be honest with you. I'm not sure Buffalo is going to have what it takes. Now that Lamar Jackson has got that monkey off of his back, that proverbial monkey off of his back, he having won a playoff game, how that pressure ultimately has dissipated dramatically, him going up against the Buffalo Bills and being able to create the havoc that he's going to be able to create, combined with that defense, I'm sorry, I just don't see it. Buffalo got their first playoff victory in decades. Major props to them. The future is bright because they got a new star at quarterback and certainly a star wide receiver in Stephon Diggs. And they're not a bad team at all by any stretch of the imagination. But too many times, on too many occasions, they do just enough to win, as opposed to really handle their business in terms of issuing statement kind of games. I think Baltimore obviously is going to give them a lot of trouble. I don't see a Super Bowl in the Bills picture this year, not even close.
No. You have a short memory because last week of the season against the Dolphins team that needed it, they stomped them out. They beat the brakes.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about the Dolphins.
Brakes off Miami.
I wasn't thinking about the Dolphins. Well, it was an afterthought.
Oh, okay, but that's the game before last, and they just beat a good playoff team just now.
When your quarterback's passing for 93 yards and you winning games that way, when you can't make up your mind who the starting quarterback is, whether it's Fitzpatrick or Tua Tagovailoa and stuff like that, I'm not going to be sold on you in that regard. That's all I'm saying.
Double-digit win team.
I'm just saying that's how I feel about Miami right now.
The Dolphins
They're going
had
in the right direction, but that's how I feel about it.
That's fine, but the Dolphins had The Dolphins had quality wins this season, but the Bills did not let that be a competitive game. And the Bills were resting their starters in that game in the second half, and the Dolphins were playing for their lives. And it still didn't matter. The point is, you mentioned the Bills don't make statement games. That was a statement game. And just winning their last game against a well-balanced and good playoff team was a statement game. And you bring up Stephon Diggs. Like, how many better quarterback receiver combos are there in the league? You have Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, and who else would you say, yeah, that's definitively better? Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams? I mean, like, you're really talking about Josh Allen. If he's not quite in that Mahomes-Rodgers category, he's leading the next tier. And that's what it's about. Really, that's what it's about. When you're talking at this level in the playoffs, you look at the quarterback you believe can get it done. Maybe that's Lamar Jackson with that Ravens defense. You're right. But if Lamar were to do it, he'd be the first playing in that style to do it. Mahomes, we just see as like, wow, we know what a quarterback's supposed to look like, and that's the best we've seen, unless it's Aaron Rodgers. And Josh Allen is more like those guys. It's who you want in this situation.
For the purposes of clarification, I don't blame you for getting on me about that, because the win over Seattle earlier when they beat them 44-34, that was a statement win. But just to let you know my thinking, when they end the season on a 6-game winning streak, or really a 5-game winning, 6-game winning streak to end the regular season, they beat the Chargers, the 49ers, the Steelers when the Steelers were nose diving, and everybody expected the Steelers to lose because they just didn't look it, and they had injuries to Denver, New England, and of course Miami. You want to look at Miami, fine. I don't view it that way. I understand where you're coming from, but I recognize that they won those games. It's just that those teams, to me, were going this way. That's why I didn't feel that way.
All right, fair enough. According to FBI, the Bills have a twin.
What's up, puppies?
What's up? Oh, my gosh. Stephen A., you're up first. Look at his face. Stephen A., be excited. You've got a new show today. It's all starting. I'm going to ask you about it later. Be in a better mood, would you?
Last night.
I'm just saying, you should bring up Connecticut
Shout
when
out
there's
to
a
the Huskies.
basketball topic. But when it's football, I don't understand why you always mention UConn. It's just me. It's just me. But go ahead.
He's just my brethren. Okay. We'll keep it going. Stephen A., was it a mistake? I can't believe I'm asking this, but was it a mistake for the Hawks to prioritize Russell Wilson when we talk about how poor their defense was?
Believe it or not, I'm going to say yes. And that's not an indictment, Dan and Max, against Russell Wilson. We know that he's a stud and he's a star, even though he did not look that way Saturday. Obviously got sacked 5 times. They were pressuring him a lot. He helped the situation because I thought he was holding on to the ball a little bit too much, helping the collapse, to have the pocket collapse against him. I thought that Pete Carroll's game plan was relatively too conservative. He threw the ball 27 times. He ran the ball 25 times, even though Chris Carson was decent. The bottom line is he was no Sam Akers. Sam Akers was balling Saturday. I mean, he was a man amongst boys running a football for L.A., considering what happened to Wolford and obviously Jared Goff coming in there with the broken thumb just 13 days removed from surgery and still being able to perform the way that he did. He wasn't stellar by any stretch of the imagination, but the bottom line is he did what he needed to do. But it was about L.A.'s defense, and it was about 2 things that really stood out in my mind. Take away the touchdown, 51-yard touchdown pass to DK Metcalf on a broken play. He had 4 receptions for just 45 yards. Tyler Lockett was virtually non-existent. What was it, 2 receptions for like 43 yards? I mean, my Lord, he was only targeted 4 times. That speaks a lot about the Rams defense, the Rams secondary, their ability to get to the quarterback, not giving Russell Wilson but so much time, but primarily about Jalen Ramsey and what he's been able to do this season going up against Seattle.